Hey, what up, Charlie? What's up, Phil? I know they didn't really plan this one, so I didn't put it on a calendar or anything. I was just hoping I could sneak this one in. I know a couple people wanting to see how we got Hass.io running on unRaid without using a VM. I guess it's perfect time again for the Down Under, right? So is that Scuba? Is that Scuba Man? Is it the same Scuba from Discord? What's up, Sinister? And Fred. I was hoping Dale would be around. I know Dale was wanting to see this. So, like I said, I've got only probably about 10:15 Central Time. So it's about an hour because I have to go pick up my daughter from work. So hopefully she'll be late. Right? Definitely could make her walk. So yeah, it's always a good time, right? I was thinking about doing it. I was trying to wait until she got off work, but then she's like, "Well, it won't be till 10:15," and I was like, "Well, I'll just go ahead and sneak it in before son's in bed and got my stuff done, got my other little camera installed, and." Rode around the lakes today and decided now chill out and we'll do a stream. So I guess are there any unRaid users in the chat at this point? Anybody that knows what unRaid is? Because I know a few of y'all working with Whiskers. Ah, okay, we got two of them. So I was working with Whiskers. I just know him as Whiskers. I think it's actually Whiskers 007 or something like that. Doc has talked about him with Proxmox. What's up, Brett? So basically, we tried to get Hass.io running. I talked with Whiskers about some other stuff, and basically we're trying to get Hass.io running straight in Home Assist in unRaid without using a VM. And if y'all think I'm looking around crazy, there's a damn fly that's driving me absolutely nuts. I tried to kill it before I started this, so I'm not going nuts. No need to call anybody. So yeah, Donnie, before I think I saw your question in the Discord. What I use for the flasher to flash it to a D1 Mini is I like to use this Node MCU Pi flasher, and I'll link here. And it's kind of weird to download it. You know, typically you do go to the releases, and immediately you want to come in here and click on x86 or x64. Well, these are the antivirus reports. So you see it goes to a different, I don't know, you can't see the bottom of my, let me drag this up so you can see. So you can see it goes to like virus total or something like that on these. Scroll down to assets and then just download the x64, like if you're doing 64-bit or 32-bit. I don't really think it matters given, it's just a flasher for Flash and Node MCU or D1 Mini. There's also the version for Mac OS as well. But it's a straight little GUI, and I'll pull it up and I'll show you. It's really simple to do. Yeah, ESP Easy One works as well. And I'm pulling up the GUI here. I'll slide it over. So this one's real simple. It's kind of like with the Node, the ESP Easy. Except this one you have to download that package and everything. Is you just pick the serial port you need, and if you plug it in after, just hit the little reload, and it'll repopulate that. Of course, pick the bin file. You can leave it at 115K, but change the flash mode to D out. But the really cool part about this one is you can click yes, wipe all data, and that wipes the entire flash, and then we'll flash your bin all in the same step. So, and then you'll see it in the console when it flashes through. So use the ESP, light just blinks and no AP. So you could do the wipe all data thing, but also if you pull up while you have, because with that Node MCU or I keep calling it Node MCU, but I know it's the D1 Mini, is pull up like Termite and pick your COM port and make sure it's on 115, 200, 8N1. And once you just come down here at the bottom and hit enter a couple times, and you should see the Tasmota console. And you can just type your commands into it that way. Like you could set your access points or you change your, I think it's SSID 1 and password 1. Look, the commands are in the Tasmota wiki. And then you can just easily pull up those. But definitely after the stream, hit me up on Discord if you get stuck with it on doing the Termite and stuff. Yeah, it's easy with the D1 Mini, of course, because you got the USB port already built into it. Martin Jerry switch. If it's a recent Martin Jerry switch, probably in the last few weeks, they have been coming out. I have one sitting on behind me. They do have the patch firmware on it. They come straight out of the box with the patch firmware. So, unfortunately, that's you have to wait till the other two you convert. Hopefully, they'll be able to do one. So, if the audio is too loud for you guys, let me know. There's Dale. We're answering some questions, hanging out. So, we'll try and do this right quick. So I work with back to try and get through this real quick, and we'll see if we can. Then we'll answer questions after, because I do have like I say, a hard out at about 10:15. So on unRaid, there's a couple different ways. If you watch one of my videos, just a quick backstory. If you watched my video, I did like how to install unRaid. If you don't know what unRaid is, it's based on Linux, and it boots off of a USB key. And you put as many hard drives in it, and you can mix and match hard drives. Like I've got an 8 terabyte and a few 6 terabytes. It's just meant for like a media server and just shares. But also you can run. It is a paid. They do give you a 30-day trial, but it is a paid application. And I know typically I'm always looking for like open source and free stuff, but I tried a couple different ones like FreeNAS and I forget, there were several other NAS ones I tried, and I just kept going back to unRaid, and that's the one I wanted to use. So I didn't feel that was in. They had a really slick Docker GUI as well, which I really like. So you can run all your little Dockers and everything. You can also do VMs, which you'll notice, like I've got a couple Windows VMs. I've even got one of a HAS.io VM. And that's where we'll bring us to today, because I prefer not to run anything in a VM that I can run natively. And Docker, I know we're splitting hairs here. You say, well, Docker is not really truly natively, but it is more than a emulation or for a VM. So I like to use, and that's how I started out even before HAS.io. Yeah, it is a one-time fee for unRaid. I know while I'm talking here, running my mouth. It is there's different tiers of unRaid. So a lot of people can do the basic, and like I said, they do give you like a 30. I want to say it's 30 days. And I think you might be able to get an extension if you request, I believe, from what I remember. It's the $60 for up to 6 attached devices. And for like, I have 5 disks along with the 1 cache. So I'm right at my level of 6. So, but the cool thing about it also, you don't have to say, well, I need to go plus right now? As far as I know, whenever, and I've read about this previously, and they could have changed it, so don't quote me on that, but that you can upgrade basics to plus and just pay the difference. So if I wanted to add like another drive to get up to 12, oh look, right in front of me, upgrade. They have changed it slightly, but you can upgrade the Plus to Pro. Oh, right here it is. Upgrade Basic to Plus for $39. Okay, they didn't have that before when they've changed their website. So if I want to add another one, I can, and you can stack that license to upgrade your license, which is good. You don't have to rebuy it all again. So if I'm missing anything in the chat, let me know. It is a one-time fee. Yeah, Fred, exactly. So I like the Docker in it. It's really cool. Now, if you're like, well, scared of Docker or anything, well, this makes it actually pretty cool. You can just actually come in here and go to apps, and it's like a little app store. And so if you wanted to come in here and pick, well, yeah, that'll work too, Elbow. If you wanted to pick any of these Docker applications, you know, it's as simple, like if you wanted to try OpenHab. I know we talked about OpenHab in the past. You just click the click install, and boom, OpenHab will install. And it puts it in and maps it and all the default values. Now you can change them, which I'll show you in a minute here, but it's going to be a little bit different for Hass.io. But see, like there's one, I know there's one like called Dupe, I think it's Dupe Guru. It'll look for files. Well, I want to say it is a Docker container. It looks for duplicate files across all your shares. The cool part is that you can click install. You can leave all these. It'll be filled out for you. Someone else did all the work with a template for Docker, and you just hit apply, and that's it. It'll go through and start pulling that container down for you. And the cool part is you can set different containers for like auto update or auto start, or they can not update. Like say you don't want Home Assistant to update all the time. You just want it to send you a notification. You can do notifications via email, Discord. I have mine through Discord. It sends me messages through Discord. There's tons of ways you can have it send you notifications. It's a pretty slick system. So, and I have no affiliation with it. I don't not getting any referrals or nothing. I just really love the unRaid software. And I've got several other people, I've turned them on to unRaid as well. So you can see we installed that Docker. It's pretty simple. Boom, it's already started. I can just simply go to the web GUI and that Docker is already there. And you can see I didn't do any command line stuff or anything. I just jumped straight into it. And typically for unRaid, you're wanting to use it with multiple, if my chair is squeaking too much, lock it. Typically with unRaid, you're wanting to use like multiple hard drives and everything. And you can turn each Docker when you, yeah, exactly. How does unRaid compare for hardware overhead? I'm not sure, like, see, that's the thing why I say about Docker is, see, like Docker, I've got several different Docker containers running. I've even got 2 copies of Home Assistant, and I've got, you can see, I've got 24 gigs of RAM. Now, typically, I bet you something's transcoding, but typically I'll see the memory usage like 35%. And I can tell there's something, I bet you on Plex, I can see the CPU usage. So, and I actually use transcoding in RAM, so that's why that RAM is higher. But it, like when it's quiet, it runs super lightweight. And I have this like an older Xeon box. So that's why I prefer to use Home Assistant in Docker. Well, but then the other part of that is you don't have Hass.io. So if I go into my Home Assistant, you see I don't have a Hass.io on the left-hand side. And I know a lot of people came from the Pi and they're used to that Hass.io. So you can come in here and you can put your own containers. Like I can still run ESP Home. Let's see. Because see, I still have ESP Home like everybody else. I just have a simple Docker container of ESP Home. Same thing for MQTT, Grafana, Influx, but you manage them all yourself and you just install them separately. Now, the one good thing about that is you manage it and not HASS.io, and so you miss some of the thing. Oh, there you go, Donnie. That's great. I appreciate you letting you know it worked out. We definitely fix something while on the streams pretty quickly. So if I forgot where I was at now. See, it's all Donnie's fault, right? Y'all can blame Donnie. So you can manage everything yourself, and I've missed some of those breaking changes. Not the breaking changes in Home Assistant itself, but I remember there was MQTT issues. No, HASS.io and Home Assistant is going to be pretty much the same, which is the only thing is HASS.io is going to have the add-on store basically. But a lot of people like the add-on store because they came from the Pi and they're used to it. Well, now the only way you could do it before was you had to run a VM on that. Correct, Fred. Well, that's not the same anymore because I worked with Whiskers and we got it going. But there is kind of some little quirks, and I'll show you here. So, and as of now, you can play with this. Yeah, and you'll see it does work separate Dockers. Yeah, see, like I have to install unRaid separately, etc. But also, one of the cool things, I can easily run multiple copies. Like I run multiple copies of Home Assistant, multiple copies of unRaid, etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop my regular Home Assistant because I want to install HASS.io. And I need to stop unRaid as well. unRaid. All right. So, and I'm gonna get rid of this dupe guru. So none of them are in here. So I did push this template up. We'll do via Visual Studio Code, Dale. So I did push this template up already. Yeah, if you do run multiple copies of something, make sure you point to different folders and different HTTP ports, Fred. Like where your app data says app data Home Assistant, you'll want that to be app data Home Assistant like -dev or something like that. And then use like a different port. Instead of 8123, use like 89123 is what I use. Or you can use 8125. We just incremented a couple, something like that. So I did push this template up. If you look in apps for the unRaid users, if you look in new apps, you'll see the HASS.io supervisor. Now, it is for testing purposes, and there's one little quirk. So if you do currently have a Home Assistant install, make sure and do back up any of your configurations in case you mess up. Take screenshots of stuff. You just make sure and you can go back to stuff in case. So I'm stopping it because of the port, and it's going to install as the default 8123, and I needed to free up that port. So we'll install the HASS.io supervisor. We'll do install and leave all of this as default. And it's going to install as long as you're fine with it installing to HASS.io on your app data folder. And just make sure and match those two up. And you can look at these other settings. Leave these the same. This is what me and Whiskers had to go through. And just hit apply. Or I guess it'd be done. I guess it would be. And hit done. Oh, no, it would be apply. My bad. And well, use the IP of unRaid. Yeah, it will. The video shouldn't have froze. Scoob, it's just you. I can see the stuff still. So leave all this the same and hit apply. And it'll pull down the supervisor. Now it's not going to work right off the bat. It will show you it finished successfully. And this is the part that maybe we can try to, I'm going to work on it more and see if I can figure this out and see, why it does this weird stuff. We messed around with this for several hours and finally did get it going. So on the dashboard, you'll notice that the Home Assistant is running, but the supervisor is not. It's on it. So if we check the logs, I'll pull this log up here. It's maybe hard to see. The Control Plus, yeah. So it basically fails and it stops running. And we were getting this error with this like version landing page, and we went back and forth, trying to figure things out, and we kind of accidentally fixed it. Well, then I deleted everything trying to do a video on it, but then it ended up not working, and I got pissed off at it, and then I came back to it today and I started hitting on it again. I finally got it working again. So that's when I said, well, let's do a little live stream on it. So what you'll want to do, and I know this sounds weird, maybe there's a different way. I've tried restarting, I tried updating them, I tried stopping, everything. What you want to do is come in here to Docker, and you'll see the supervisor is not running. And also, you'll see if you go to if you browse to, like, I use WinSCP and look at my app data folder, I'll see a HASS.io folder. And you can see here's all the HASS.io folders. Now, normally you won't see this on a Pi, but you'll see actually inside, like here's the shares, there's nothing in the shares. Home Assistant actually has no data in it. There's no configuration YAML, anything like that. So to fix that is, I found, and this sounds weird, is I go in here and edit this. I change, and in this, I make a real simple edit. I'm talking a stupid edit, and it works. I think it's something with the timing of that container is not there, and then the supervisor fails. It's something with the timing of it, and I found that if I get to refresh the Docker, it works fine. So I just simply add a letter on the description, and it pre-pulls the container and starts fine. So we'll hit done, and then we'll go to dashboard, and you'll see now Home Assistant's running and the supervisor's running. And when we check the logs, give it a second sometimes, but you'll see down here it's saying it's setting up, HASS.io is running, set up Home Assistant, it's trying to pull an image, and give it a second. I think you see it right there, it's going to say start Home Assistant, start with version 9.3.1, and then it says cleaning up images, and it should go to show running here in a second, I believe. It was what else I saw. So you give it a little bit, and then you should be able to go to the IP of the unRaid server along with port 8123, and you should see the onboarding page. So this is, and this is, let's just make sure and refresh it. Control F5, and now you can see we have, I'll make this bigger for you guys. Now you can see here's the onboarding. I'll just do digiblur and do test as the password, and we'll create an account, and we'll hit finish. No, because this is not going to do your configuration. It's going to be a different container. Watch. Now you can see we do have HASS.io already in here. Here's the add-ons. And if you go back to Docker, you'll notice the supervisor pulled its own container, and it's going to be missing an icon because it pulled it without a template that unRaid doesn't know about. And another thing I did find, it shows an update ready all the time, but if you click on update, it's going to say, hey, did a plugin make this container? And it gives you an error message. So don't worry about doing don't click it. But it automatically, the supervisor pulled this Docker image here. And you'll notice I still have my original Home Assistant Docker container that's by itself that I've used for close to over a year now. And also I have my other development down at the bottom that's on a different port. Now I had this stop because it uses 8123. Exactly, Fred. So now if I wanted to, I could go set in the configuration YAML on this Home Assistant for a different port. Like if I wanted to do like 8125 or something like that. And it would all run side by side. So you'll notice now you have the HASS.io tab, and you can come in here and run snapshots, and you can go to the add-on store. Now I know Dale was talking about the Visual Studio Code. So let's go look at that one. So let's go to Visual Studio Code right here. And we'll hit install. And it doesn't take that long because it just pulls that container down, and we'll go through. And I've installed several different things. Now some stuff that, we'll start over for you, Bobby. So several different things I've tried. I'll probably still run outside of, like, you know, I'm not going to install, I'm be honest with you, I'm not going to install Plex inside HASS.io. That's too easy to install in Tango. Not Tango, in unRaid. That's what I call my box, by the way. But some of the stuff that's integrated more tightly with Home Assistant, you would probably use those own add-on, you know, as an add-on inside. So you can see now, this is that Visual Studio Code. It's not started. And I'll show you what's cool is you look in Docker. We'll make sure and refresh this page. I'll scroll down to the bottom, and you can see the supervisor actually pulled from HASS.io add-ons VS Code for 64-bit, and it pulled it for the latest. And it shows as an orphaned image. Well, as soon as I come in here and do a start on the Visual Studio Code, you'll see that now we refresh this page, that orphaned image is gone and it's towards the top. And now you'll see, here's that add-on, VS Code AMD64, and it started, and it also shows update ready all the time as well. And it actually shows all the mappings and everything, and the CPU, it does show the CPU usage and the memory load, etc. And I wouldn't manage the ones that HASS.io brings in. Don't manage them yourself using the GUI. Let the supervisor do its job of managing these add-ons. Otherwise, you could potentially break stuff. So you'll notice now that it started, we can come, just like with regular HASS.io, you can come in here and hit refresh. You can see the logs. It started the whole nine yards. And you can open the web GUI. And here's Visual Studio Code that's actually inside of HASS.io using the add-on. So you can see all that the add-ons work. You can come and do the snapshots. Let's see. Let's do one. Let's do May 18th. And we'll do a full snapshot, and we'll hit create. And let's see if this works. I haven't tried snapshots. We'll see if this works. Oh, there it is. Full snapshot six seconds ago. Yep. There it is. So everything works good. Hey, what's up, Federico? I can say it easier than how would it be, FL? If you're saying it right. So the only other weird thing I've seen is on system. It does show it doesn't know what the hardware is, I believe. I guess it does. It does show it. And also another big plus is, and I know someone asked this, and I have tested it. I just don't have one easily accessible without going behind the screen and stuff. I did install the ESP Home add-on, but I had to stop my other one because of the HTTP port. and I was able to plug a Node MCU into my unRaid box and get it to see it. You'll notice I do have, there's USB 1 and USB 0. That's actually the Z-Wave Zigbee stick that I have plugged in the front of the box, so it's actually seeing that. So you should be able to use, if you use Z-Wave and Zigbee USB sticks, you could also use it with the HASS.io unRaid Docker install as well, like this, without any issues. Plus, can flash in all your stuff with ESP Home or whatever else you decide to use USB. I don't know if there's any other ones inside add-ons. Couple things I would caution. I just don't know if they could conflict with anything because of the way you're running this on unRaid. I probably myself would not come in here and install anything like his DHCP servers, or I wouldn't install the Samba. I wouldn't install SSH, because we already have SSH and all that stuff anyway. You might start getting port conflicts, and you already have Samba and everything that's actually in unRaid itself. So yeah, and that's basically how HASS.io does work. It's a full set of Docker containers. So there's this HASS.io supervisor. That's not my Docker container. That is actually the true supervisor, because you can see that this actually just links to, and this isn't maintained by me. This is maintained by Pascal and Paulus and everybody, all that do that. So this is actually the official supervisor. It just points a template to it. And we're just using the 64-bit one. And then we had to pass in some stuff, and we do pull the exact Docker container that is actually for the 64-bit Intel NUC. So as you can see, the name here is Intel NUC. And then as you do add-ons, those are just Docker containers, basically. I think, don't quote me on all of them. I'm not very familiar with all the add-ons, but most of them are Docker containers that run, and that's even on the Pi. So you just don't see it. It's very transparent to the user. Can you load a snapshot with just the Docker, or the snapshot specific to HASS.io? I would assume that you could take a Pi, and I just haven't tried it. You don't have it running on a Pi. You could take a HASS.io on a Pi and then snapshot it and then bring it into HASS.io on unRaid in this Docker configuration. The only thing, again, I would just caution is don't bring over like Samba and SSH. I don't know, help me. What's some other ones that are just generic type of things? I don't even know if I see. Well, there's SSH. Is Samba in here somewhere? I thought we had Samba. Is there a search? Samba. All right, let's just not see. Oh, there's Samba right there. So I wouldn't do those, because you already have Samba in unRaid. So, hey, what's up, Dave? So I know I ran. If you don't have Let's Encrypt running on, see, I already have Let's Encrypt. I've set it up on unRaid itself, and I set that up even probably before I even knew Home Assistant or even what it was. If you don't have it already running, I mean, give it a shot. It may make it easier for you. It should all kind of work the same. Just give it a shot, if you don't already have it running. I just have Let's Encrypt running already, and it may get port conflicts. What's up? For 10:15? Okay. Well, I got time then. What other questions we got? So we got 15, 20 minutes, probably before I leave. Oh, cool, Dale. So you got it installed. So, you actually doing this method, or you doing something else? You're actually kind of following along. Trying to think what add-on would be needed. I wouldn't think with the Nabu Casa SS Dr. Drew's, I already have it attached to my account, so I don't know if you can put two instances to one account. but it shouldn't have an issue. That's just outbound communication. You're not blocking any of that. Otherwise, if that was getting blocked, we wouldn't be able to pull some of the configuration and pull some of the containers down and pull those new add-ons, etc. That they were getting blocked. There are some errors that I get in the supervisor, but it does work. There's some errors in that about dbus, but everything seems to work, except that weird quirk of getting it installed. I've gone through and removed add-ons, added add-ons. Of course, we tried the snapshots. I haven't gone through and configured a bunch of stuff yet, just because some of it might be duplication for me. And so what I plan on doing is setting up another machine with unRaid or maybe do a VM or something like that, which that can be troubling trying to pass a USB stick into it. I've had issues with that, but trying a different machine and set up unRaid on it as just a trial and try to do Home Assist HAS.io on that unRaid by itself. Missed a set to get it show up in HA, but it got my super Docker running. What you talking about, Fred? Super Docker. But missed a set to get it show up in HA. Yeah, the only weird quirk I saw is go through and modify the supervisor and just edit the description and just change it. So, and that's it. But you can see it does run super. Make sure you don't have another Home Assistant running. Yeah, we're using a little bit more memory now, but I think that's probably going to flux back and forth with other things running. I probably could jump in and just show the memory that one container is using, but there it is right there, 0.41%. So super lightweight. The add-on using 0.1% of the memory. So it's super. I really like to use the Docker containers. So, but Dale or Fred, if y'all get stuck on anything or anybody else on the unRaid people, and I know I should have done this last time, but I forgot. I haven't edited my my little Nightbot to do commands. But if you get stuck, I mean, just hit me up on Discord, or if I gave that link, you know how to hit me up on Discord, Dale, but in case anybody else doesn't. So I know I blew through it real quick, trying to get that out the way before my time runs out for showing the Docker container stuff with HAS.io and unRaid. And that would have been possible without Whiskers helping me out with that. And he was very determined to get it done. And he had never even really seen unRaid until I showed him on a remote session. So everybody go quiet. Everybody leave. We just showing unRaid, or everybody hacking away. Put on the back for Whiskers. Yeah, don't blow up Whiskers now. So, what's the next video going to be on? I don't know. Dr. Drews. I got a few things trying to working with the. If I can show. Let's see. Got a few things, and I know I've shown this before, is with fixing the zoom on this camera. Let's see. About to use that 32 gig of drive space or 32 gig of memory. Yeah, see, I like running on the Docker 'cause stuff. It's just super lightweight. You don't have to like devote all a bunch of resources to it at one time, and you just let it run on that drive. So, oh, and we did, before I jump over, let me refresh this. You can't, now that we did fix it, you can see now in Home Assistant, there is all the, oh, sorry, I can't show it. I should have it on the right camera, y'all tell me. Is now that it is fixed, you can see when you browse to it, it does have all your configuration, YAML, automations, all your typical stuff that runs in HASS.io. So you can just come in here and edit these if you like. You may have a permissions issue if you try to edit them like through Samba or something. So, but typically you can just go in through like WinSCP or whatever and change your permissions on there. That way you can edit them over Samba if you like. So, but back to someone else was asking what a couple of things I've been playing with real quick is I mentioned these on one of the last stream is, and no, this isn't on. I don't know if Radio Nerd, was it Radio Nerd? I get people names confused. I have to go back and check my email. I'm gonna quote on that. I know if y'all ever seen one of these? And I'm gonna hate if I say his name wrong. Let me see right quick. Yeah, I did have it right. Radio Nerd, well, he's here. Cool. Was nice enough to keep me safer. And if you've watched Big Clive, that's an addiction with all the way he talks and tears everything down to watch that channel. But it's cool to, I know this is a total down angle, this is actually for mains power. And this is the US version because the only difference is, I believe, is the colors. And the cool part is, and let me get we do have a switch right here. Let me grab a switch right quick. Someone was asking about the Martin Jerry switch earlier anyway, so so it's not what it is basically, and I won't, because I have my Home Assistant shut down. Let's see if I remember which relay it is. There it is. So the cool part is you can see it's on. This is for mains power. Well, it's mains power inside here, but then it goes up and it's actually in here, and you physically touch it. You know, it's isolated from you. And so you can, these are little spring-loaded clips. So when you come in here, oh, okay, cool. Well, we don't have to leave. She got a ride. There you go, cool. So what's cool about it is these little clips, and they make different ones for different countries of these, but these little clips, you just lift it up. It's for testing switches. You just pop it in here. There's the green. You pop in the white, and then you pop in the black. Hey, appreciate it, Peter. And so then you just pop it and you match up your colors. Now, one downside is probably what I will do, and I know I've talked about these before, these Wago 221 connectors. This being a switch, you're gonna have the power coming out. If Radio Nerd can find the link to this and post it, hey, I'll hit approve. I usually gotta hit approve link on it. But I probably end up, what I'll doing is I'll put this on the side, deadhead this on the sides. That way you can deadhead like a dimmer or a switch. And so, but what's cool about it is it's not this switch is not active yet until what happens is these little teeth on here actually that will connect the two rails, and you'll see a fuse inside as well. But once you close it, which it isolates you from the power, then the actual switch will come on, and you can let me turn the light off so you can see. So you can see now that that switch did light up. I don't know if you can see the LED right here. And it also gives you the indication here. Well, then once you lift it up to take the next wire off of it, then it isolates it again. So it's kind of a cool way for testing switches, and it's great for like doing till you convert. Which Phil, you did have a till you convert question. I think I'm not sure where Radio Nerd got that from. We'll wait for him to dig around through his stuff. So it's a pretty cool thing. I'm definitely gonna leave it on my desk because instead of having to wire stuff up because I will say I have not paying attention on another switch shocked myself with on a switch before just not paying attention. It really prevents that. So yeah, it's $60 on Amazon, but I will say it's definitely worth it, Michael, if there is a better place to get them. Without till you convert, we can still flash, but use network.com. Let's see. Let me pull up the thing. Here we go. It's newark.com Cliff, or is it /Cliff? Look here. Where we find it at, Radio Nerd? That's the here it is. That's the Cliff, the LED quick test. That's the Euro plug. So there should be the US version. Let's see. Called the quick test. Yeah, here we go. The quick test. And oh, they do have a little bigger one if you want. It's 56. So they've got several different ones. I'll just put this search here. There you go. And that way this will kind of go in line with everybody else that wants to look for these in other countries as well. So the one that I didn't come with a plug. I had a wire, and you just got to open it up and put your wires in the bottom of it. Looks like this is the. Yeah. Okay. So this one does. This is a little. That's doing multiple ones. And probably there was a US version. It should let you paste in a link and just I can hit approve on it, Radio Nerd. But you can see that's the same thing, but I think that's the European colors. But pretty cool little device, and I appreciate Radio Nerd. He's definitely looking out for people, and maybe he saw me too many times playing with live wires on switches. So this will keep my fingers off, and hopefully won't need the doc's help. Well, and doc's a little far away, but you know. So back to what I was showing. Since we got a little squirrel there, right? But see, it's really cool being able to pull that thing off without, even though it's showing as live, but you can put your fingers all over the thing, and you're not going to get shocked by it because it's not connected till you close it. Watch definitely search for Big Clyde's video on the quick test, and he tears it apart. There's not a lot to tear apart, but he shows exactly how it works. So, so one thing I was messing with, which I'm messing around. I know y'all were asking what the what I've been playing with. I'm doing a case for this power monitoring. I was trying to get ESP Home running on it, but it just, I'll be honest with you, kind of eating my lunch trying to get an SPI custom component going for ESP Home for this. So instead of that, I circled back and just doing a little custom Arduino sketch. And there was another guy, I don't know if I didn't talk to before, so I won't say his name. Because I normally will ask if approve my link I found. See, it's not showing approved link on there for some reason. Tim? Oh, let me see. Let me hit live chat. Maybe that'll do it. All right, Dale, I appreciate it. Oh, Discord. Where'd you put it at in Discord, Tim? Oh, here it is. And yeah, it's something. Yeah, it's something kind of similar. A little quick. Let me see. Let me put it on the web. Something kind of similar. Looks like you can put wires in it, and then it has a plug on top of it. Let's see. We'll put that link in there, and y'all can kind of look at it. That's weird. Normally, I'll see in the list. It'll say like in the chat. I'll normally see who's. Somebody posted a link and it's going to ask me to approve it. So I guess if you want to send me but we already got past it for Radio Nerds thing. So if it is a link, we'll just, for something, we'll try and grab it out of Discord later. So I'm messing around with this, doing the custom sketch on that, trying to get this done. This is that 6-channel board for doing power monitoring, where you'll hang off 6 of the split cord transformers for doing amperage on circuits in the house. I don't want to beat that one to death. I've done that one, talked about it several times before in other videos. But one other thing I was messing with is, which I showed in another end of one other stream, was the eTech City switches. These are 3-way switches. There are 2 of them, and the cool part is, I took a picture and I'll pull it up here in a second, and I'll bring the camera down. I'll show you. Let me fix the zoom, because it fits right in with what I'm going to go back with. I know there's a question I'm going to ask about to-year convert. I'm fixing this here. Move this out the way. We'll go get closer. That way we can see. Try not to make it shake too much. So the cool part is, on this switch, you just undo. There's actually no screws on it. It just pops together. And this is actually the header that you could, and it's spaced for a normal header, like for jumper wires. Like you'd put a header like on if you're familiar with, like, I know, soldering on the Sonoff Basic. You can just put jumper wires and hold in here, and it's actually VCC, ground, RX-TX, and GPIO 0. So you could just hold wires in here. No, 2U convert does not work on these switches on eTech City. But it does have an ESP8285, which is the same as the ESP8266. I do have Tasmodo on this right now, but I haven't figured out the exact pinouts on this 3-way switch. And it's just another alternative 3-way switch that because there's only really one 3-way that we have out there. I'll get a link for this guy here. Let's see. E-Tech three-way. Now, I'm not sure. They looked about the same pricing wise, I believe, at this point. Now, they only had a 2-pack. I believe that's about the same for the Moe's. And I know the Moe's three-way. So the Moe's three-way, let's see, Moe's three-way 2-pack. Oh, they got a $8 off coupon right now too. So that makes them even much cheaper. I know the Moe's work great. I've covered those. There's the Moe's. I have covered the Moe's before, and the Moe's work. I've done a video on it, so I don't have to. These work like the Moe's. They should. I used them with the stock firmware, and it did work kind of the same. I just replaced one switch, and it does have. You can see on the back, it does have a traveler, the 2 travelers. So it's just go and replace one, and. So, and I know some people ask, well, are they UL approved and everything? Well, they're ETL approved, and it does say it conforms to the UL standard. But a lot of stuff does say that. I'm not going to go down that path of soapbox of UL listing stuff. But I'm having an issue right now with the voltage detection. I'm not, if you flip the other switch on. So I do have this. This is my little wiring of a 3-way switch, and then a plug, and try my little test thing that I have it tied to that little quick test. So working on trying to get that going, and we'll show that guy. I don't know if I'll do a full video on the 3-way switch. Maybe we can try to do something different. The one thing I did think was kind of cool about these E-Tech Cities, it is not a physical switch. It's actually just a capacitive button. What's up, Dr. Jeff? Please depot at the insurance decline due to non-UL. Yeah, see, I've gone down that whole path with the UL stuff, and we were talking about that today, and the whole rant with. They were saying, the insurance guy was like, yeah, we'd have to prove that you, intended to, be arson or something like that. But you buying different products off of Amazon is not going to, that you have to prove that you did something intentionally. And then he started on a rant about how UL was just a money game and it ain't like what it used to be. And it went on and on, but I'm not going to go down that path. So, but it does just to have a capacitive button, and there is an LED under this little Wi-Fi thing, and it's on a GPIO, so you can control it. And then there's a LED underneath the button, and they're kind of faint. But the stock firmware, I believe when the Wi-Fi was on, it showed if it had signal, and then when the light was off, the LED was on just to help you find the button in the dark. And it's kind of a faint little white light, just enough where you could find it in the dark. It's not going to, blast you. So I did flash it with Tasmodo, but like I just mentioned, I'm trying to figure out the GPIO pins for. I have everything figured out except for the voltage detection whenever you do flip the other light switch. So they do have some regular E-Tech City light switches. I did find those, and here's one of my big secrets. I know we've mentioned this before, so it's not a secret. But if you go search for like FCC-IO and like E-Tech City, you should be able to find their listing for their different switches. So, like for instance, we'll do E-Tech City. And we're going to look up just their single pole switch. E-Tech City switch. Oh, E-Tech. Smart Wi-Fi switch. Here's their single switch. This is not the three-way. I don't have this one, but I'm gonna show you kind of what I do to see if it's possible. This is the E-Tech single, and it's pretty in line with some of the other switch prices. You can check it out when you get a chance. But this is the actual switch. So I'll go to find to E-Tech Cities stuff, and let me zoom this in for you guys. If you go to the FCCIO and search for that company, and it's not always the company. I'll find the FCC link, like the FCC ID on the back of stuff, and sometimes I'll find the FCC ID actually on the, like, people will post pictures of the reviews, and I'll find the FCC IDs on like some different light bulbs and stuff like that. Sometimes you just got to get creative in how you can find all the FCC IDs if there's one. So here's that light switch. This is that single light switch. No, I haven't played with the new Shelly, but hang on to that question, Dr. Drews. Yeah, I don't think they have a dimmer yet. It's a switch, and they have a three-way switch, and I'll show you the other thing I saw. But this is that regular light switch. Scroll down for the external photos, and you can find here's the actual photos, and you can see it's all dirty. It's a little different, but you can see they show the external photos of it they sent for the FCC. But the cool part is the internal photos. That's what we care about, right? So scrolling down, and you can actually see that rail. I may have to zoom in on this. If I can zoom in without messing up things. Let's see. It's not going to do the pictures right if I zoom in, I don't believe. It's kind of hard to tell because the pictures aren't great quality. But this is it's actually labeled, if you zoom in the actual picture. Let me see if I hit, let's pull this up as a PDF. Did it download? Download as PDF. We'll pull it in this way. This will be easier to do. Because it kept trying to resize on me every time I was trying to zoom in. So this is on the back of it. You can actually see, now this one's doesn't look as simple, but they're showing the GPIO pins. And you can actually see on, is it this one? I'm scrolling fast, sorry guys. Here it is. You can see that rail right here, it actually says TX, RX, GPIO 0, ground, and voltage. So you don't have to even pull this out of the switch. You could actually connect. Now I know these are field. Now the one I have is not field. I got a picture I can show you. But they use, this is kind of familiar to you guys. They call this VSync app. I don't really like the VSync app. It's isolated in their cloud. There's no way to use it at Home Assistant. I didn't really see any other integrations. I might be wrong with like any other like IFTT or anything like that. But the inside here was an ESP8285 on mine. Which you can see in here. You can see that expressive thing. Now this is probably ESP8266, given that there's a flash memory next to it. But no big deal. It's all the same. So I don't think they have any other pictures of it close up. Yep, that's it. So this is kind of what I do for like looking at switches and stuff. If you can, hey, can I put Tasmodo? Can I flash easy to it? Now, here's one I wouldn't get is the light bulb. They do have a light bulb, But look at the internal photos of it. Here it is here. There's no pins to get to. The chip is sunk way inside of it. There's no that's with, and there, since there's not, it doesn't use Tuya. You can't use Tuya convert. Oh, and I don't want to miss that question. I'm gonna be still here. Phil had that with the, yes, even though they do have patch Tuya convert, if you have physical access to it, you can do your own bidding and flash what you want to it. Another person asking, do they patch Tuya convert? They have on some devices. I got a GoSund plug in. I bought that on. They had a lightning deal on it. GoSund. GoSund switch. I'm sorry. They had a GoSund switch, and it was like 10% off, and then they had it on lightning deal, and I said, what the hell, we'll give it a try. So what I was hoping on this GoSund, and this is about the same price that eTech that on Amazon right now, but I was hoping for, it would have, because those you can get to the header on them, and I was hoping to download the bin, put it on the cloud, make sure it gets patched, and then download the bin again and try to compare and help out with doing the Tuya convert for the new update. But it wouldn't update. So after I updated it, I was like, well, maybe it's silently updated. And I put on, I fired up Tuya convert, and it still worked, and Tuya convert worked just fine. So I didn't luck up on that one, but those, let's see where it was the Go. I'll show you the pictures. I got internal pictures of it. But there's another. Like with the bulb, I wouldn't get their bulb because you have to solder these. You can't use Tuya convert with these. The smart outlets, they're a no-go as well. Because if you can get it open, but then you'd have to tear up the plug to get to the pins on the bottom right here. So their plugs are out as well. They did have another plug, and I'm not too sure on that one. It's a power monitoring plug. It looks like we might be able to get to it. I don't know about that, so we'll see if I may get one and just see how it works out. Oh, so let me pull up. Let me pull this off screen so I can pull up that GoSund one and the pictures of the internal of the three-way. Let's see. Here you go. If you're looking at little side squirreling, this is what we were doing today. We were out at the riding around, and my son was playing out in the fountains and stuff. So we were having fun doing that. So, but let me break it up a little bit and be intentionally squirreled, right? Shiny object syndrome. Let me see. Right on this picture. This is that GoSund, and it did work with Tuya convert, but I was hoping because it was easy. You can see there's TX, GPIO 0, RX, 3 volts, and ground. And there's also a 5 volts up here, which is kind of cool if you want to snag 5 volts for something, like some type of different sensor that might require 5 volts. Yeah, they're mostly glued pretty well in those plugs, Tim. So let me slide this back off screen so I'm not spilling all my pictures. Not that I have anything crazy. But here is that 3-way one, which I have on the desk right now. And if you can see, the way I flashed it, was just, this is the back, this is the, well, let me I'll have to show you on the, let's see. I do have both. Here we go. This part here is the back side of it. Let me get down to it. If you can kind of get relationed, and I'll fix the zoom on it. This is the picture on the left is the other side. That's the picture on the left is the front, the button side of it, and the picture on the right is the back side of it. So I just stuck in a header and just held it there, and it has TX, RX, GPIO 0, ground, and VCC or VDD, but for your 3.3 volts. And I flashed it through using a USB, and I threw Tasmodo on it. And it does have it's an ESP8285 in these. And like I say, I'm still working on doing the voltage for turning the light on and off. But the E-Tech City stuff is pretty cool. I may show a couple things on those. Maybe I might get one of their switches and see. And kind of, just like to have a big melting pot of switches, with the addiction to flashing all the things Tasmodo on something else that I can. So that's kind of a long, drawn out thing of what's maybe next video. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. I was thinking about doing this is a short little video of the unRaid stuff, but I'd just due to that little quirk, I said, well, let's just do a little live stream on it and just get it out there to the few people that want to try it. So, the ES cam old video and the one with the what megapixel on the ES cams? I already have I guess they're less than 5 megapixel. Yeah, if you missed if you missed the unRaid thing, Dr. Jeff, we were showing, you may want to, once this finally processes and posts to the YouTubes, we did show running HASS.io in unRaid with just using straight up Docker containers without having to use a virtual machine. So it's got one little quirk in it. I do have the template up there. I probably will update the template with like a link probably to this just to show people how it's weird. But it's test it out and see if we can break something with it. So roll back the video and I kind of run through it real quick and you'll see once this posts to it. But feel free to hit me up on Discord or whatnot if you get stuck with something. So, but if you got Home Assistant running already, back up your stuff. But you should have backups anyway, right? So, Tim, you got a question. You're asking about those ES cams. Yeah, the ES cams are probably, well, let's see. I do have actually one running. Actually, I do have one running on Blue Iris right now. Let's see. That is going to be this one. And that's, I want to say that one comes up as, I know it's hard to see it. I have to zoom this. I want to say it's probably a 2 megapixel. It's 2.1 megapixel. So that's just going to be a 1080p. The real link ones I've done, they're different aspect ratio, but that one's the 2560 by 1920 is the resolution on those 5 megapixel. And I've been pretty happy with those, and they run great in Blue Iris. But I did move, I finally did get a machine. I just haven't configured everything up with doing Blue Iris on this machine. So this is a i7-6700, Jonathan. And I do have, I know it's hard, myself is in the way. but you can see, I don't know if it's hard to see. I have to zoom in my VNC if it lets. I don't know if it let me zoom in. Scale to 100%. No, that's not it. I'm not sure. I'm not a big pro on VNC zooming stuff in, but it's using with the display actually not live, where it's not transcoding and show on this to the display. I actually only using 7% CPU. I did cut back. I went through some of the optimizations, and I did cut back on some of the frames per second on the big 5 megapixel cameras, because I was jumping up to like 20 or 30, 40%. But this is an i7 6700. It's a little small form factor HP, and it works out great. So I know I probably did overbuy, but I wanted to. I just dug around on eBay for an i7 6700. This was like, they had like some Pro Desk, an Elite Desk, and I did get one with 16 gig of RAM, and it came with I think it was a SSD, but I had a 1.5 terabyte drive that was just sitting around, so I used that. So you don't necessarily have to go with, say, an i7, but that's kind of what I did, because I plan on putting a bunch of different cameras, and I didn't want to run into any type of CPU issues. So yeah, it can have some steep hardware specs, but with if you have using the GPU decoding, it does help out tremendously. And I did have it. I was trying to run it on my unRaid box, but it was just I wanted it separate for obvious reasons. That way, if I was rebooting something, my cameras would still work, etc. So yeah, I would probably recommend some type of as open source, but allows Docker containers. It's not open source, Tim. You do have to pay a license for unRaid. But yeah, it's a NAS that does Docker containers and VMs, and it does a whole lot of stuff. It's a big GUI. Like you can install unRaid and set up all of like your NAS stuff and media shares and Docker containers and the whole 9 yards, and never touch a command line. Now you do have the ability to go do it, but just never touch a command line. So I'm still playing around with. And that's what I was doing earlier before the stream. Was setting up. Well, that looks awful for some reason. Oh, because I got it on pause. That's why. I was setting up swapping out. I had an analog camera here, and this is a little cheap little $30 1080p camera that I went through and blocked internet access from, and so it can't go out, and it just Blue Iris gets it. The IRs are pretty hot on it, though, unfortunately. So, but I didn't really need it too much. I just wanted it that way. So, what else y'all got? Any other questions and stuff? I do have I got an ESCam. I think this one is a ESCam, and then I think I have one other ESCam to install, because those are 1080p. They're going to be really. I'll still use them. They're 1080p. They're great cameras for the price, and especially when they're on deal and things. So mobile access for Blue Iris. That's one thing I got to set up this weekend. I did buy. I know it's $10. It's kind of steep for an app. Hey, I appreciate it. I guess it'd be D-Pod of Luck, if I said it right. If not, correct me. I always butcher names. I'm good at that. Yeah. So I bought the Blue Iris app for Android, and I'm playing around with that. I always heard it was good for like a geofencing, but I do also use IP Cam Viewer, I think is the name of it. It's a simple, and it does work. It's IP Cam. I did try it with Yeah, this one I think I bought this one way back. I bought the yeah, there you go. Depot of luck. There you go. So I bought the pro. I think it was the pro version. 'Cause I think that light version lets you do 6 cameras, and this one lets you do like probably it seemed like 1,000 cameras, and it's just a simple little app, GUI interface to it, but it's a simple little app to do just cameras. So yeah, basically kind of the same thing as Tiny Cam, but it had Blue Iris in there. I did check it, so yeah, and I checked out a few of them like Zone Minder and a few other ones. I just kept going back to Blue Iris. So yeah, that was the one thing I had to do with purchasing the computer was make sure it had a valid Windows 10 license, which I was going to build a computer myself, but then I just found something that's refurbished on eBay. So, but it works pretty well, and I've been playing around doing the setup and everything, and doing the MQTT. Yeah, and I saw the Blue Cherry stuff. I just haven't had time to really check that one out. My options are always open for doing cameras, and throw a camera in with, I could always, this is machine, I could throw in a VM or something on this, or I could still throw it on my unRaid and try out some Blue Cherry or something. Whatever else may come out, I have this whole machine now, so I can always switch to something else if I wanted to, leave my options open. So, the camera is getting so weird. I just set this camera up. I still got to play around with it. That's that camera. I picked on the name. They called it Be Watching. So, yeah, and they do have a version 5 coming out of. I just saw it dropped. It was a version 5. They had a preview of version 5. So we'll zoom that in here. It looks like they've changed up the GUI a good bit. I know this looks kind of blocky because the picture is not the best high resolution. So they've changed up the GUI a good bit, and the one thing they are dropping support for anything less than Windows 8, I believe. I'm not gonna go bore you with all this. There you can read the document for the Blue Iris people. It's a pretty cool little read. I'm kind of anxious to see all the new updates on it. So it might be able to even run better, given that they're dropping, the different, they're using newer libraries and stuff. But comes with that, the newer libraries, they had to drop support for Windows 7, I believe it was. So I really like, I do like my favorite though is just being able to, is the GUI on this thing is just pretty slick, and being able to pull up an alert and it does the little, yeah, I did see that, but I like how they did the little GIFs of, you could come in here and you can pick the alert you want, and it's real fast to go cycle through all the different alerts. And now I haven't gone through and taken all my stuff out, so I get every single car passing and stuff, but I guess I don't care. So, given the hard drive space, but I think it's really cool. You can fly through these. You're not like constantly digging for something. If you see something move on the ground, you can just instantly go through and find your stuff. Just scroll. I'm just scrolling quickly, as you can see. So, it's very cool. So, like there was, like, hey, I want to see something in this pic, and like I didn't even know this one was here, so let's go see who pulled up in the driveway. So you can instantly see. So if you saw it real quick, you'll find that little alert. So that was the pickup I didn't have to go make, so we could make the stream even longer. So, but so it's pretty cool. And that's all from the web GUI. So on the real link resolution for 16 by 9. Yeah, I do have one of those 4 megapixel real links, and I thought about changing that, but I didn't know if it was going to chop anything off. So you know me, I always want everything and want it all. I don't know if it was going to change, because it's set right now to 2560 by 1920. Yeah, I know if you do set it down, you can get the aspect ratio. Because this one is, I lost my screen. This one here is actually the 4 megapixel real link. I don't know if I'm behind a little bit here. So free for up to 4 drives, worth the price to buy. Oh yeah, okay, I'm talking about unRaid. Yeah, the pricing, we did show that earlier. I think I still have the tab open. Here's that pricing for the unRaid. It's more meant to, I had an older little box that I got. It was a little Xeon box that you can just find like an older computer. Had the same reaction. What was the same reaction? Oh, yeah, you gotta buy another PC. Yeah. You don't really need a crazy PC because it runs super lightweight, but if you want to play with it, the key does go, the way they do their licensing key, the key goes with the actual unique, I think they call it the UUID of the USB drive. So you could try it on a computer. I'll be honest with you, I tried it on an old AMD. It was a 3-core computer, I think with like 4 gigs of RAM, I think it was. Yeah, it was probably gonna have like 4 gigs of RAM in it. And I tried it with like a couple old hard drives, and I was trying to FreeNAS and a couple different ones, and I would try to make a drive fail, then try to make it rebuild. I wanted to make sure the software was gonna work. And then when I saw the Docker stuff it was super simple with unRaid, I just like, whoa, this is what I gotta have. So. Oh, well, Blue Iris has been out that long, John? Wow. So, yeah, Has.io, that would run, it runs great on an i3 laptop. Yeah, it's cool about running it on a laptop, given it has the battery and, you know, it's meant to be low power usage and everything. So, oh, unRaid, okay. Yeah, I've been using it probably for about 2 years now or so, and I absolutely love it. And knock on wood, it runs great. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I was back from. I want to say I came in 5 dot something, I believe. So I wasn't back in 4. So. What else? Other questions we got on things? I know we've kind of been all over the place, and we ended up getting more time than we anticipated. I know we'll just sit here and watch my neighborhood people drive back and forth. So, are you running on those HP fanless box? I went with actually one of these, the HP Pro Desk. It was not the Tower. It was not the Mini. I was concerned about the Mini fitting, you know, being able to fit like a couple hard drives in. And I went on, you know, this is the size here, the Pro Desk. And I'm not using the DVD drive, of course. But this one's, this pretty decent deal here. It is a, I don't know, i7 4790S. I think I bought the 6700. You'd have to go do your research more on there. Yeah, and run the stop signs. They run them all the time. So, but yeah, that's kind. And I looked at like some Optiplex I didn't want like a full blown like tower, and I didn't want like a little box like this either. I didn't want to paint myself into a corner type deal where I couldn't put a like 3.5-inch hard drive in it. So I went with one of the small form factors, those SFFs. Just dig around eBay, and there's tons of refurbished ones. And I probably kind of overbought a little bit, but you know, I just wanted to buy one time. Do you use Lambda and ESP Home a lot? No, I don't. I have not done much Lambda in there except for some copy and pasting that I've done out of the documentation. So I don't do a whole lot. Hey, what's up, Nicholas? Hopefully it's a good thing you see me on Reddit. Anyone tried Atomic Pi with Home Assistant? I saw those. I haven't done any of those yet. Yeah, see, you probably laugh. I've got a couple different things. I've got a separate Pi for like just Pi-hole, and I need to move my MQTT to it so I can have it separate. And then I've got this separate box for being a NAS and Docker, and then I have this separate one for doing Blue Iris. So, yeah, that's Chris. You running that with what are you running on that one? What software? You using it in Avidion? I hadn't heard of that one. Is that a Linux-based type deal, or is it how'd you say that? Avidion? Avidion Cloud Surveillance. I guess you did for home? I'll check that one out. Yeah, I'm not totally, you know, I did buy the Blue Iris, but yeah, I'll have to check out and see how that. I'm always looking, you know, try out multiple things, right, and be all over the place. I guess that's why I have. I'm sure my family I drive them crazy with 10 different types of light switches and 10 different types of this and everything. So wish I would have tried Proxmox. Yeah, I haven't tried Proxmox yet. I guess because I had unRaid already, so. It's too late to switch to Proxmox now. Yeah, I think, but the Proxmox I know there's a lot of. Did we drop off? It says stream complete. Why is it says stream resume? That's so weird. So it must have been a YouTube thing. Yep, we're still pinging, so. Unless we had a big severe issues, but I'm not seeing anything crazy except a big thing the other day, which that was an outage they had. So the cable modem signals in Grafana. So Nicholas went to low. Yeah, you made to change it manually because I noticed my resolution on I have another screen way over that it shows the dashboard. It changed me to 144p. So, yeah. Let me go. I need to go shut down this for them. Let's go. We'll turn. I need to go turn all this stuff back off and turn my Home Assistant back up before I drive them too crazy. They're trying to turn off different lamps and stuff and hit down lights and. So 1 second here before I drive them crazy. How you tracking all of that? We're tracking what, Matheson? And Nicholas, I actually live in Louisiana, by the way. and start my node red. Okay. One second here, guys, before I've set the... All right. What you run Home Assistant on? Why you run the NUC image? Oh, I meant how you're tracking ping. Oh, that's actually just smoke ping that is running as a Docker container. So it's just a real simple. I went into unRaid and searched for smoke ping, and just put in a this is the smoke ping Docker image. Yep. So I search for and you put in the websites you want, and it tracks all. It pings them, and you set your time, and it makes little cool little graphs. It's called smoke ping. And I don't know if they have that as an add-on for actually an HAS.io or whatnot, but it's just a little thing, and you can track, and it shows now this is actually like this big spike. They had an outage, and I plugged in my hotspot to the Ethernet and put us on LTE for a while. They had a cable outage, but and it shows, I guess I don't have the history that far, but it'll show all the different things. And it's a pretty cool little thing. You can click on the navigation little graphs, and you can actually zoom in. And you can zoom in, and it shows like the packet loss and the pings and the jitter and etc. So it's a pretty cool little thing for the smoke ping. Yeah, it's right there in unRaid. And I think you go and edit the host file, I believe. I have some IP addresses in there I don't want to pull across, and otherwise I would open it on the stream. So, and also I run Grafana as well. You can run Grafana or something in unRaid as well and do some pings in there. But the smoke ping was just super simple to set up. I did find if you go and edit all the sites on the left in previous versions, sometimes I'd have to delete some of the files, or I just have to restart the Docker container for it to pick them up. So just keep that in mind. You make a bunch of edits, makes sense to restart the Docker container. So, all right. What else we got real quick? Did I miss anything? I know I had to scroll back here. I know we were kind of chit-chatting, just hanging out. What else? It's Back Kids on Netflix. Yeah, Manual. That was on the screen. That was on YouTube. What's in default? Lovelace. So the graphs, I guess they are in here. I don't know what we call them. These are just, I haven't set up a whole lot of graphs inside of the GUI in here. I just kind of use the default ones. Yeah, Grafana does need influx. And so I think Frank did a video a while back on setting up Grafana and influx as the add-ons. And yeah, there you go, the 15-minute setup video. I set these up outside of HAS.io. It just runs in unRaid. And I have like different sensors. I have it just only what I include sending to influx. And then in influx, you point Grafana to that influx database, and then you put your charts. There was a little bit of a learning curve to Grafana, but what I did is I went and found the Grafana has a great website for different dashboards you can download. They have like a big repository of all these different dashboards. I even found one that was for unRaid. And whatever other people have made inside, and you find the ones that are like highly rated and highly downloaded, and pull in somebody else's dashboard and then see how they did it and just edit it to how you want. Why do you have the NUC Docker image in unRaid? Good question. That's a me and Whiskers more. That's a more along on Whiskers. He figured that one out. He knew exactly what it was, and we were trying to get it running on. He was trying to get it running on someone's QNAP server or a little NAS box. If we didn't put the Intel NUC, when you went into the add-on store, all the add-on stores were grayed out. You couldn't install any add-ons because it didn't know what machine you were trying to run on. So we flipped it to the Intel NUC and then restarted it, and it picked up all the add-on stores. That's actually defined in the template that I already did. Here, it shows the Intel NUC. I wouldn't change that unless you know what you're doing. It took us a little bit to figure out which one, but we took apart some scripts and got it going. So, because it's probably the default 64-bit, which is what this system is, unRaid's running on a 64-bit machine, typically. Oh, hey, what's up, Derek? Yeah. Sometimes it's getting better, Nicholas, with the Home Assistant learning curve. But it's addicting and fun, I would say that. So it all has big learning curves, but luckily there's enough of us out here to help out and hit every little piece of it. I know we talked about that. There's that Juan MTech does some great. Juan MTech does some great videos on, which I'll leave his thing. If you're getting started with Home Assistant, Juan MTech does some great videos for getting started and kind of hold your hand along the way of getting, whether you want to try it on a Raspberry Pi and everything. And he does some great graphics work as well. Maybe my graphics aren't that great, so I need a graphics guy. Yeah, and Nick, I know a lot of the Tasmodo stuff. I know a little bit about ESP Home. I do run both of them. Run them for some ESP Home typically, like on multi-sensors and stuff. So switches, I use Tasmodo. But I use a little different setup because of unRaid. Because MQTT is the middle of my setup. And I use a lot of Node-RED because I actually learned Node-RED before I learned any automation YAML. So I know I'm more familiar with doing Node-RED. So if you saw some of my different, I did a little Node-RED series, kind of getting your feet wet with Node-RED. And I did take the opportunity in my last little video with the little buttons to show how to do some Node-RED with doing those buttons and everything. So. But yeah, Node-RED is definitely fun for doing everything. It can get a little crazy at times, but if you can zoom out Node-RED. I like being able to, like some of that, I would never try to do my alarm state stuff with lighting and everything. I would never try to do that in my automations in YAML. That's just crazy. So some other simple ones I could do, probably like some of the automated bathroom vents and stuff and lighting I could do in there. But I really like Node-RED. It just makes it easier. And sometimes I don't feel like coding after messing around with stuff. Yep. And a lot of times I'll do stuff straight with Node-RED. I'll do straight from MQTT to MQTT. I'll skip Home Assistant totally. So, any other questions? What else we got before we have to jet? I know we're going right at probably we're an hour and 46. We probably won't do 2 hours. So I didn't intend to be this long to begin with, but I lucked out with daughter getting a ride home from work. So can you change the colors in Node-RED? You can't. I did see that actually. I want to say Frank had one. I wonder if you can turn on Dark Reader. Will Dark Reader do it for me? Look, there you go. Well, Dark Reader will work. Look, there it's let me do the approve things. Okay, you should Node-RED, Proxmox, ESP Home, Z-Wave, Zigbee, MQTT. Yeah, try it all. Yeah, so Dark Reader, there you go. I know Dark Reader, Chrome. I didn't even know Dark Reader was a thing until someone showed it on, they were actually on the Ubiquity controller. Ubiquity didn't have a dark mode, and people were like, "Oh, here's how you do it," and I was like, "Whoa!" For doing Ubiquity controller, but now it does have dark mode on Ubiquity. But you can go in and whitelist some of your sites and stuff like that. So yeah, I know they did a theme for Hash.io with Node-RED. Yeah, Frank did that one. So that's some of the things you'll get with Hash.io, which will kind of go in with the very first of the video. Now I know sometimes if you try to dark read a dark website, it ends up messing it up. It just gets like I can't even see. Let's see. Hold up 1 second. Well, you don't show my password anyway. Not that this is exposed. This isn't exposed anyway. Only through VPN. You need VPN anyway. Yeah, see how it messes everything up? So I need to whitelist this website, but because there's already a dark mode and everything on there. So, but yeah, I was just where I was going with this was I'm more. You're talking about Z-Wave and Zigbee, as you can see. Oh, way too many. We zoomed in too far. Does it show the numbers? There you go. I have, and I like to run wires. The thing I have 79 Wi-Fi devices on my 2 access points right now, and if I did a search for expressive, I think if you do, yeah. So I'm running. I have 54. 8268 expressive either ESP devices on my network, 54 of those. So I did away with all my Z-Wave and all my Zigbee stuff. I got severe Z-Wave interference issues, and Zigbee Zigbee worked fine, except I just didn't have enough Zigbee stuff, and it's just too expensive. And we like to tinker around with being able to flash Tasmodo to things. So I just went all Wi-Fi, and it just works reliable for me with MQTT and quick. Yeah, Henny, it'll be up later, and it wasn't really as long as we were going to go, but we ended up some things worked out, and we end up able to go longer with UPB. Yeah, if I can't hack it, I can't back it. That's a good saying, Chris. I might have to steal that one from you, right? Or are you going to patent that one on me? Yeah. It took me time, Nicholas, to get that far. It was just slowly adding piece by piece. So we all started out small. I only had a couple light switches going. I remember with Tasmodo, I think I had like 3 or 4 devices going. So, and it quickly took off. Took way off really quick. Yeah, Henny, the time zones, I do try. That makes it difficult for me as well. I know because I normally work during the day, so my schedule, I'm normally working during when it would be good for some other countries, and then maybe have some other family stuff going on in the middle of the day. So I find it easier to put my son to bed and I come do a live stream. So every once in a while I do one during the day when I can. It's just kind of rare. So there you go, 36. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock my time here. So yep. So if we don't have any other crazy burning questions or anything, See, even all websites. I don't even know what mine looks like. If I could ever, mine looks the same. And customer site, IT support is not them. Yeah, I I love to. And actually, what I have like my parents' house and some kids' house, um, and some other stuff in Smoke Ping that I just want to monitor, and of course monitor my own connection. So and kind of that's why I built the MQTT script to go scoop my cable modem signals and throw it to MQTT so I can see them in Home Assistant and set different things on them and be able to track my graphs on like my cable modem signals and pings and I know a kind of one of the plant managers now with the cable system, and he's like, man, you got those graphs and everything. How you do that? So it's some of the graphs are better than what they have. It's kind of funny, and they're just built using Grafana and Influx and scooping the HTTP page of a cable modem. So, all right. Well, before I guess we go, making sure we don't have any other questions. I don't have any giveaway things set up at this time, unfortunately. I know I said I might have, but yeah, I might be able to do that, Matheson. What should I do? I've been struggling with buying a smart ceiling fan. Nicholas, the ceiling fan is like the arch nemesis of being open source MQTT. They had the iFan 02 by Sonoff, but it's not really designed, say, for the U.S. market. And now speaking U.S. markets, a lot of people are here from U.S. due to the time. You will. I have one installed and it works great. I show it in one of my videos because I have a MCP 23017 with the LEDs and capacitive touch sensors to turn on lights and turn on down lights in my house, all off the iFan 02. But I did have to solder and do some crazy stuff to swap the caps on them and use the cap in from the fan itself. I really wish someone would come out with a proper, and I say proper because there is one out there and a couple of them out there, a proper pop-in switch that's ESP8266 or even ESP32 base, and just have a decor switch and be able to pop it in and swap it out, and that way we control it with MQTT. The only other ones, like you say, is doing the 315 megahertz stuff, doing IR. The problems you get with some of that is getting the statuses back. If you have Z-Wave and Zigbee or Zigbee, that might be if you want something quick and easy, that might be your best case, is to go with a fan that supports Z-Wave and Zigbee. Or they're a little pricey, is having to buy a Z-Wave, like some of the GE fan, I don't call them dimmers, but they're designed for fans, for changing the fan speed with Z-Wave. So yeah, the caps were meant for 240 volt, and they just don't work right with the fans that for here, and so you end up with some like a slow that's like useless, and then you end up with your medium where like maybe you have it all the time is now you're slow, and then you lose medium. So yeah, it's a kind of a no-go for some things. They're supposed to come out with an iFan 03, and I haven't seen anything on it yet. So I know it's a long, drawn-out thing. There's not really a good thing for fans. Using Tasmoto, the slow fan speed on the iFan, you're really just, like I say, you're gonna have to swap the caps. That's the only way. Because they're like, you look at the capacitors in your fan itself, they're usually in the light kit, and you'll see that those they're not the right size. Yeah, I'm about to have to go to Matheson. So I hope someone can come out with a proper. I've even asked several manufacturers, like even Martin Jerry. I'm like, Martin Jerry, I've emailed him several times, but just some of the, I guess I'm probably just talking to a salesperson, but it's like, y'all want to sell something, make a switch, like one of y'all's dimmers that is meant for US size fans with the right capacitors and everything, and I guarantee you'd sell the hell out of them. And even told them, put a damn header row on it so we can just pop in our pins and call it a day. But, of course they don't want that, so they probably laugh at me. Yeah. So you can, Tim, if you found those different capacitors that will fit in those, email me or hit me on Discord a link of those later when you get a chance. I still have an iFan 02 I need to convert over for US. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching and hanging out with us and chit-chatting with all the different little subjects and everything. And, yeah, I know, Nick. Yeah, Nick, I can tell you, hit me up on Discord or Reddit or whatever you want to do. We can chit-chat back and forth on see what fans you have, and we'll try to get you down a good path and sit with... No, I know it's not my problem, but I'd like to help you out with it because I've kind of been in this problem. So, and it's a problem I'm going through kind of right now. So maybe we can figure something else out. So definitely hit me up. Maybe we can chit-chat back and forth and see one of the better solutions. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out, and y'all take it easy and have a good day or evening or night or whatever it is, and y'all take care.